Good morning, guys. It is Wednesday, June 21st. I know this because it's my 21st wedding anniversary. Happy anniversary, Joy. And I'm just eating my breakfast after my workout. And I was going through my news feed, and I saw an interesting article from, it's all over the place. It's on Fox News and USA Today and all these other things about the American Heart Association has come out and declared that you should put this stuff on your body, but not in your body. It's coconut oil. And I highly encourage you, for those of you that are science-minded, go read the actual article. Go read the actual abstract of what it's trying to say. And then do your research. Because I think the AHA has gone BSC, batshit crazy, forgive my language. They're actually recommending that you cut out such things as coconut oil because of the type of fat that's in it and add back in vegetable oil. For those of you who don't remember and need your history lessons, vegetable oil was what was promoted during the 70s and 80s, was leading to everyone should eat margarine instead of butter, led to trans fat because the food industry wanted it there, and literally that has now been made illegal to put in food. This is a major step backwards relative to the science that is actually out there. Again, sorry for those of you guys on air. It's rant time from Andrew. But I always encourage you, whenever you're seeing science, whenever you're seeing these types of things with a government agency, follow the money. Go find out where the money is. And when you want to find out where the money is from a scientific article like this study on trans fats, or probably not trans fats, this one was on something different. This was, you always want to look at the lead author. Look at that lead author for it. And that's going to be the first name that shows up. If you know scientific journaling, I got a science degree. The first person referenced is the lead author on the study. And the lead author on this study is Frank M. Sachs. I'm sure he's a wonderful scientist. I'm sure he's a great guy. But the challenge with science in general at this point is someone has to fund it. And when you're funding science for the most part, that means you're trying to look for a specific outcome. So Frank M. Sachs has had a couple major donors that are not surprisingly from the pharmaceutical industry, the largest being Pfizer. Pfizer's number one drug that they currently have on the market today is Lipitor. Guess what Lipitor does? Lipitor decreases cholesterol, primarily by binding up dietary cholesterol. I can go into a whole different rant on cholesterol, but please make sure you do your study on there. It's not as simple as HDL and LDL, people. It's not just that HDL is bad and LDL is good. Number one, your body needs cholesterol. Every time your cells divide, every time that your chromosomes divide, it takes cholesterol to do that. So let's just, number one, not completely vilify it that way. Number two, even in HDL, which is the ones you don't necessarily want, it's the size of the HDL that actually matters. You don't want these small, dense particle HDLs because they're the ones that bind up the arteries and cause plaque and everything else. And it is a real issue. It's a major issue in especially the United States. But HDL that is large and fluffy actually passes through. That's actually a good portion of it. So you want to make sure you're understanding what your triglyceride balance is. There's lots more than just what your LDL and HDL in there. And I just want to point out that the science behind what he's doing is literally, it was a corollary study, it wasn't a causal study, which means they look at a bunch of data and say, okay, well, based on this information from all these other studies that tried to prove something different or tried to disprove something, we think we see this pattern. And they're basically going back to science that's been disproved for 30 years, was that the vegetable oils are so much better for us because of the nature of those, and that they're going to help us fight cardiovascular disease and have these lower, totals in cardiovascular disease. It's that simple switch is not going to happen. And then they mentioned, which was interesting, and this was my favorite part of it in the article, was one of the driving factors for a lot of people consuming more coconut oil right now. Number one, it's much less processed. So if you really go and research what it takes to make vegetable oil, it usually comes from either soy or corn. you can go down your own path on government influences on that one, and how we're subsidizing the corn industry in particular. But it's made from either soy or corn. You have to superheat it up. You have to oxidize it, which really starts to make it bad for your body. There's a couple different processes. You have to use petroleum extract to get it out, all those different types of things. Whereas for coconut oil, pretty much what you do is take a coconut, squeeze it really hard. I'm oversimplifying the process a little bit, but that's basically what it is. It's essentially a whole food. And because of that, they want to say that they want to lower that saturated fat, because it's saturated fat that's within the coconut oil, and it's unsaturated fat in vegetable oils because they're doing a bunch of stuff to it. But one of the main benefits, getting back to that, to coconut oil is one of the highest oils in MCT. MCT is something that your liver can utilize to produce ketones, and ketones, your brain can run on that energy as opposed to glucose. So a lot of people, especially in ketogenic world, etc., are utilizing coconut oil and such things as buttered coffee. So this is my coffee with a little bit of ghee and a couple tablespoons of coconut oil. It is delicious, and it gets me that kick. So that is one of the reasons that they're then coming back and saying, hey, you shouldn't be doing this. This MCT, the amount of MCT in coconut oil is so low, only 10 to 15%, that it's really not worth it. Okay, that's like saying, well, you really shouldn't work out today, because in order to get the benefits of a workout, you need to do it consistently over time. And today would only be 20 minutes, so really you'd have to stack all those up on top of each other, so why do it at all? Guys, this is getting crazy. We do not need to go back to the times of, let's do everything with corn and with soy and push the subsidies and make sure that we have people coming through with their, Lipitor and everything else. It's insane the way that we now advertise to the direct public for pharmaceuticals, which, do you realize we are only one of 3 developed countries that actually allows pharmaceutical companies to directly advertise to consumers? 3. Brazil and I think the Netherlands are the only other 2. No other group are allowed to say that. And what studies have clearly shown is when someone goes in and says, hey, I think I need, I'll pick one of my favorites, Abilify, because I'm constipated, because I've been on Oxycontin the last 2 years on an opiate, rather than just, getting my health in order and going through there. And please don't get me wrong, some people truly need pain management, but I also believe we've way overprescribed those in our society. So anyways, I highly, highly encourage you, do a little bit of research on this. Before you just take the American Heart Association's, commentary on this and saying, yeah, go back to everything vegetable oil. I still can't believe they're saying vegetable oil. Go back to everything vegetable oil instead of, you're using coconut oil or olive oil or all these other great oils that are natural oils. Remember to go do your research and really think about it, because you got to find out where the money is. Number 2, think about what they've told you in the past. This is the same organization that told you should be eating margarine instead of butter. Margarine's now illegal. It's so bad for you. Think about that. The other aspect, this is the same organization that said that you should really never eat eggs because the cholesterol is too high and the dietary cholesterol is going to be putting you way over the top. The reality is, guys, dietary cholesterol has so little effect on your actual body cholesterol. The science is truly showing that it's mostly genetics and processing, and that's why these SSIDs and everything else work, is because they're working on that cellular level. They're just not necessarily getting right. They have the best of intentions, but then also make sure you're following where that money comes from. And if you don't believe me on that one, I highly encourage you, go watch this documentary. It's called Merchants of Doubt, and it is a fantastic study on the tobacco industry and the sugar industry, and how their lobbyists are really used to create doubt to really push an agenda, obviously. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, I'm not anything along those lines, but this one was a fantastic viewing of where the tobacco industry and the sugar industry used not just the same science, the same scientists, the same talking heads, literally the same person, to push their agenda on the talk shows and everything else. So I guess my whole thing is, do your own research, take it in totality. Don't look to one article, regardless of what you're looking at, one study to say, oh yeah, this is the way we need to do this. It's really widespread out there, but make sure you do it. I can tell you, I am still very much going to be sticking to my buttered coffee, my eggs with avocado. I'm going to be focused in on those good fats because that's what my body needs and body processes. And for what it's worth, my cholesterol is always pretty low on there. But anyways, I hope you guys have a great day. I hope you guys continue to focus on your health. And do your research. If you have any questions, obviously I hate talking about this stuff, so just ping them on in the comments below and we'll be monitoring them. Hope you guys have a great Wednesday. We'll talk later. Bye.